quickly introduce yourself.
My name is Pascal Ngwai, Director of Finance.
If you can face the mic as you speak, because the TV and the radio want to get your voice. Please go ahead, introduce yourself again.
My name is Pascal Ngwai, Director of Finance.
Thank you. Auditor General's office. Oh, I see. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Chair, good morning. My name is Jones Maipambe, Chief Accountant from MPULUNGU Town Council.
Thank you. Auditor General.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Honorable Member of the Committee. Good afternoon, MPULUNGU Town Council Management Team. My name is Sira Nyirenda, Director of Audits in Northern Province. You're welcome to the committee. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Abednego Siluele, Principal Auditor in the Office of the Auditor General in Kasama.
Good morning, Chair, and to the honorable members of your committee. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Emmanuel Nyalazi, Principal Auditor, Office of the Auditor General. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, other permanent witnesses, and good afternoon, MPULUNGU. My name is Charles Bukolo. I'm a planner from the Office of the Auditor General.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, honorable members, and good afternoon, MPULUNGU Town Council. Good afternoon to our permanent witnesses and Secretariat. My name is Chiesu Sachingongo, representing the Office of the Accountant General.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, other members, and good afternoon, MPULUNGU. My name is Achuya Davis, Assistant Director, Local Authorities Department, Ministry of Finance and National Planning, Audit Division. You're welcome.
Thank you, Chairperson. Good afternoon to you and the honorable members of your committee. MPULUNGU Town Council, you are welcome to this session. Kazinga Kennedy, Permanent Witness for Minister of Local Government and Rural Development. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, honorable members of the committee. CS and your team, good afternoon. Permanent witnesses, good afternoon. My name is Christopher Mwamba from Local Government Service Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretariat.
Good afternoon, Chair. My name is Namwenga Simaloli from the Office of the Clerk.
Thank you, Chair, and good afternoon. Emmanuel Walia from the Office of the Clerk.
Thank you very much, honorable members of the committee. Honorable Mwene.
Thank you so much, Chair. Good afternoon to you. Afternoon, MPULUNGU Town Council. You are most welcome before your committee. Our permanent witnesses, good afternoon to you too. Our viewers and the listeners out there, good afternoon to you as well. Please keep on following Parliament Radio and Parliament TV. We are broadcasting live from Parliament main buildings here in Lusaka. I'm Mwene Lohamba, Member of Parliament for Mangango constituency. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Mandevu. Honorable Member for Dundumwezi.
Chair, I'm most grateful. Is it afternoon or it's still morning?
It's afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Chair, and the honorable member there. Good afternoon, our permanent witnesses. MPULUNGU Town Council, you are welcome to your committee. Christopher Shakafuswa is my name. I represent the good people of Mandevu constituency of Lusaka district, and you are in Mandevu constituency, so you are welcome to Mandevu constituency. I'm the vice chairperson of the committee. Chair, I'm most grateful.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Mufumbwe. Honorable Kamondo. Honorable Singombe. Honorable Singombe. MPULUNGU Town Council. My name is Mulunda Darius, Member of Parliament for Siavonga constituency, and I'm the chairperson for this session. You are welcome to your committee, but before we get into our business, I would like to extend the Cap 12 of the laws of Zambia that members of Parliament enjoy in the main house, that when you appear before any parliamentary committee, you are conferred with the immunity, that will protect you, that whatever you submit during our interaction will not be used against you. However, if you choose to mislead your committee, misinform your committee, the same Cap 12 will be applied on you. And I'm confident that you wouldn't take that route, and that this afternoon you interact with us factually, and that there will be no need to invoke the Cap 12, because you are going to give us the information that will help us to generate a very good report. With that said, Council Secretary, may I invite you now to make your submission, and you have 20 minutes to do that. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Maybe, Chair, before I proceed,
yes,
there's some addendum which we have provided. I don't know if they can be
Okay.
permitted.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes, and then just a guide on the appendices. There are some appendices which are not in the booklet. They are in the box files. So
They are here.
Yes.
You guide us as we go on.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Please, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm presenting the memoranda, the report of the Committee on Local Government Accounts, on the report of the Auditor General, on the Constituency Development Fund, paragraph 80, for MPULUNGU Town Council for the financial year ended 31st December 2023. And paragraph 80, specific queries and appendices 1, 2, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, and 13. I go to specific audit queries. There's the procurement of earth-moving equipment, and B, there's the procurement of earth.
You have 20 minutes to submit, so yes, we want you to go straight into issues.
Okay, let me go to the responses. The cause of query: management wishes to acknowledge the auditor's observation and wishes to state that this was due to non-finding signed copies, minutes containing the justification for use of limited bidding. However, justification was provided during procurement proceedings. This was followed by the local authority engagement with the ZPPA for the same. Action taken: management wishes to report that the file containing the records of proceeding on justification for use of limited bidding is now available, together with proof of engagement with ZPPA for the procurement of earth-moving equipment using limited bidding. Remedial measure: management will continue following the regulations in line with the procurement of goods and services. The details are on Appendix 1. The next one is the overcommitments of funds approved versus the actual amounts for earth-moving equipment. Cause of query: management wishes to acknowledge the auditor's observation and regrets that at the time of audit, some additional recommendations by the CDFC and the approval could not be made available for audit verification. However, management wishes to state that the engagement process with ZPPA took long at the instigation of a complaint. The loss of time increased prices of the above listed equipment due to depletion of the kwacha. In addition, the local authority planned to procure the equipment exempted from paying value-added tax at that time. This reduced actual amounts spent on procurement of the equipment. And there's a table which we have tabulated. Then action taken: management wishes to report that it had informed and engaged the Constituency Development Fund Committee for permission to procure the equipment at the above stated values, totaling actual spent sum of 13,798,078. In addition, the variation totaling 858,678
was sought through CDFC based on circular number MLGRD/101/22/151, which gives principal officers authority to vary within a CDF program. Remedial measure. Management will continue following the laid down procedures in line with existing Constituency Development Fund guidelines. The details are on Appendix 2. And failure to remit VAT. Cause of query, management wishes to acknowledge the auditor's observation and wishes to state that this was due to an import VAT exemption that existed before 1st January 2024 for the local authority upon application to the Ministry of Finance and the National Planning through the parent ministry. Action taken. Management wishes to report that it had engaged the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development to facilitate the import VAT exemption through the Ministry of Finance and National Planning. Through that engagement, only amounts exclusive of VAT were cleared for actual payment and registration in the online Zambia Revenue Authority system. Remedial measure. Management will continue following the laid down procedures in line with the income tax laws. The details are on Appendix 3. Failure to negotiate. Failure to negotiation procedures. Failure to follow negotiation procedures in the procurement of the excavator. Management response. Management acknowledges the auditor's observation and regrets not availing the negotiation plan, staff appointed to conduct negotiations, and minutes of the negotiation. This was due to the unwillingness by the supplier to negotiate. However, the negotiation plan was available together with the appointed officers, and when notified, the supplier turned down the invitation to negotiate. Action taken. Management wishes to report that it had appointed officers to lead the downward price negotiation on behalf of the local authority, who in turn wrote through the council secretary to the supplier, Barrowwood, for permission to meet and engage, though feedback was negative. Remedial measure. Management will continue following the laid down procurement procedures in line with the procurement guidelines. The details are on Appendix 4. Delayed completion of projects, construction of road. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the auditor's observation and wishes to state that the delay was due to the high moisture content from December 2023 to March 2024. In addition, at the time the moisture content was optimal for works, the equipment was instead taken to GT Vyamba Road, which was impossible for transportation of farm produce from the plateau areas. Action taken. Management wishes to report that it had completed the Kaija Road formation and spot graveling after the demobilization of equipment from GT Vyamba Road. Remedial measure. Management will continue implementing the approved projects within the required period. The details are on Appendix 5. Wasteful expenditure. That is D. Repair of mortuary equipment. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the auditor's observation and wishes to state that this was due to electricity road management experienced in April 2024. The mortuary equipment was repaired in November 2022 and worked up until April 2024. Action taken. Management wishes to report that it had advised the affected department to engage the Constituency Development Fund Committee through the Ward Development Committee to procure a mortuary equipment and construct a mortuary building. Remedial measure. Management will continue to implement the CDF projects submitted in line with the CDF guidelines to ensure prudent expenditure. Details are on Appendix 6. Poor workmanship, rehabilitation of 1x3 classroom block at Chaulu Primary School. Cause of query. Management acknowledges auditor's observation and regrets on the poor workmanship exhibited in relation to a rehabilitation of 1x2 classroom block at Chauru Primary School. Action taken. Management wishes to report that it had facilitated for works to rectify the observed defects through the contractor. Remedial measure. Management will continue to implement the CDF approved projects according to the scope of works. The details are on Appendix 7. Poor workmanship, rehabilitation of Kasakalawe Health Post. Cause of query, management acknowledges auditor's observation and regrets on poor workmanship with regard to rehabilitation of Kasakalawe Health Post. Action taken, management wishes to report that it had facilitated the repainting of the peeled-off section of the wall, replacement of the door and the door handle through the contractor. Remedial measure, management will continue completing all CDF projects according to the scope specifications of the work. Details are on Appendix 8. Management of loans, failure to avail ownership documents for hammer mills. Cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's observation and regrets the omission of not obtaining ownership documents in the name of the council for the 2 hammer mills. Action taken, management wishes to report that it has obtained written consents from the cooperatives using the said hammer mills, surrendering the ownership to the local authority until the full settlement of the loan. Remedial measure, management will continue to ensure that all property bought using the CDF empowerment loans are in the name of the local authority until the loans are liquidated. Details are on Appendix 9. Management of secondary school and skills development. Bursaries, students without proof of completing skills courses. Cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's observation and wishes to state that this was due to the failure by the respective learning institutions to provide completion certificates for students who graduated during the period under review. Action taken, management wishes to state that some affected learning institutions for the 208 students have provided the local authority with completion certificates totaling 280. The remaining 27 are yet to be issued by Taveta. Then below is the distribution of the number of students with the completion certificates. Remedial measure, management will continue to engage skills training schools to make completion certificates available on time. Details are on Appendix 10. Management of youth and women empowerment grants. Questionable disbursement of empowerment funds to unregistered clubs. Cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's observation and wishes to state that this was due to registration documents for 11 beneficiaries being misplaced during change of hands among officers. Action taken, management wishes to report that it had obtained second copies from the affected clubs and are now available. Remedial measure, management has since embraced technology to ensure that all documents for such a purpose are scanned upon receipt. The details are on Appendix 11. Irregular payments of empowerment grants to beneficiaries without application forms. Cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's observation and wishes to state that this was due to 11 application forms being misplaced during change of hands among officers after payment. Action taken, management wishes to report that it had obtained second copies from the affected clubs and are now available. Remedial measure, management has since embraced technology to ensure that all documents for such a purpose are scanned upon receipt. The details are on Appendix 12. Irregular payment of empowerment grants to unapproved beneficiaries. Cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's observation and wishes to state that this was due to missing of 11 forms during signing. Maybe, Mr. Chair, here it's supposed to be 4 forms.
Clarify that.
Yes.
During the query, so
Okay.
you can proceed.
Okay. Then action taken. Management wishes to report that the unsigned forms are signed and are now available. A remedial measure. Management has since embraced technology to ensure that all documents for such a purpose are scanned and upon receipt. The details are on Appendix 13. Failure to attach NRCs to empowerment grants application forms. Cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's observation and wishes to state that this was due to national registration cards for 51 beneficiaries being misplaced during change of hands among officers. Action taken, management wishes to report that it had obtained copies from the affected clubs and are now available. Remedial measure, Management has since embraced technology to ensure that all documents for such a purpose are scanned upon receipt. Details are on Appendix 14. Misapplication of project fund by recipients. Cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's observation and wishes to state that this was due to inadequate funding for the grant beneficiary's initial type of business. Action taken, management wishes to report that all 4 affected grant beneficiaries had their change of business approved by the CDC. Remedial measure, management will continue to closely monitor and sensitize grant beneficiaries to stick to the projects applied for and seek approval when a change is needed. Then the second one is non-operational cooperatives. So cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's observation and wishes to state as follows. There's a table there. So on the Tuafwane Women Club, cause of query is due to the grant beneficiaries' non-adherence to the grant terms and conditions. Action taken, management wishes to report that the club was engaged during monitoring to adhere to the grant's terms and the status is they are operating. The second one is the Mwachuleni Women's Club. This was due to the grant beneficiaries' non-adherence to the grant terms and conditions. Action taken, management wishes to report that the club was engaged during monitoring to adhere to the grant's terms and they are operating. Then Wabonse Women Club. The cause of query, this was due to high chicken mortality leading to cessation of operations. Action taken, management wishes to report that the club has been banned from accessing grants for the next 5 years in line with the CDF guidelines and they are not operating, that is the status. Then Kalimi Youth Club. Cause of query, this was due to grant beneficiaries' non-adherence to the grant terms and the conditions. Action taken, management wishes to report that the club was engaged during monitoring to adhere to the grant's terms and they are operating. Kazie Women's Club. Cause of query, this was due to the disruption of operations over a conflict relating to a piece of land meant for fish ponds, leading to cessation of operations. Action taken, management wishes to report that the club has been banned from accessing grants for the next 5 years in line with CDF guidelines and they are not operating. New Posa Youth Multi-Purpose Cooperative. Cause of query, this was due to the grant beneficiaries' non-adherence to the grant's terms and conditions resulting from a lack of club members' participation. Participation. Then action taken. Management wishes to report that the club was engaged during monitoring to adhere to the grant's terms and they are operating with the challenges. The last one is the Sonkolola Women's Club. Cause of query due to a fire which swept through the market, destroying all their stocks. Action taken, management wishes to report that the club was encouraged during monitoring to reapply for another grant. They are operating with the challenges. And the remedial measure, management wishes to state that it will continue to enhance the monitoring and supervision of grant beneficiaries. And the details are on Appendix 16. Then we go to cross-cutting queries. The first one is the budget, funding, and expenditure. Management response, cause of query, management acknowledges the auditor's observation and wishes to state that this was due to centrally retained funds amounting to 115,681.01 meant for insurance of CDF motor vehicle for police and the project monitoring, which therefore reduced community projects CDF component. Action taken, management wishes to report that the funds have since been spent centrally. Remedial measure, management wishes to state that it will continue adhering to the CDF guidelines and circulars from the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development on the implementation of CDF programs. The details are on Appendix 17. Appendix 2, total unspent funds. Cause of query, management takes note of the auditor's findings and wishes to state that they reconciled actual unspent funding amounting to 976,023 as per the audited 2023 financial statement was due to unimplemented 2023 CDF programs, which includes 1 million reserved for Rural Electrification Authority and 1 million reserved for construction of Chief's Palace, cancellation of community projects, tenders, delayed procurement of water bowser and 2 tipper trucks from 2022 CDF caused by extensions on the delivery of the equipment. In addition, there was also a delay in the disbursement of 2023 funding, with 24-23-309.92 representing 72% being received in the last quarter of 2023. Action taken. Management wishes to report that it has since spent 14,472,703, and the details are on the table again. Remedial measure. Management wishes to state that it will continue adhering to the CDF guidelines and circulars from the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development on the implementation of CDF programs. The appendix is the Appendix 18. Unspent funds, community projects. Cause of query, management takes note of the auditor's findings and wishes to state that the actual reconciled actual amount funding amounting to 18,186,753 was due to unimplemented 2023 CDF projects, which included the RIA 1 million and another 1 million which was reserved for construction of Chief's Palace. Mr. Chair, this is the same one as the other one. Cancellation of community projects, tenders, delayed procurement of water bowser and 2 tipper trucks from 2022 CDF caused by extensions on delivery of the equipment. In addition, there was also a delay in the disbursement of 2023 funding with 20.423,309.92 representing 72% being received in the last quarter of 2023. Action taken. Management wishes to report that it has since spent funds totaling 11,917,833 on community projects, and the details are on the table. Remedial measure. Management wishes to state that it will continue adhering to the CDF guidelines and circulars from the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development in relation to the implementation of CDF projects. The details are on Appendix 19. Unspent funds, empowerment grants. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the auditor's observation and wishes to state that the reconciled unspent funds amounting to 491,236 was due to a delay caused by grant beneficiaries' bank accounts being dormant at the time of pay. Action taken. Management wishes to report that more than 98% remainder of the funds have been dispersed to CDF grant beneficiaries. The details are in the table. Remedial measure. Management wishes to state that it will continue following laid down procedures and regulations in the payment of grants while taking into account the implementation period. Further details are on Appendix 20. Unspent funds. Empowerment grants.
Oh, I see. Okay. It's the same thing, so we skip that one.
Okay. Then I'll go to secondary boarding and skills development bursaries. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the auditor's observation on unspent funds on bursaries and wishes to state that the reconciled unspent funds amounting to 1,420,094 was due to inadequate applications received through WDCs. Action taken. Management wishes to state that the ministry had approved a variation of the remaining funds to procurement of desks, which have since been procured. Remedial measure. Management wishes to state that it will continue following the procedures and the regulations in the payment for bursary while considering the implementation period. So the details are on Appendix 21. Unspent funds, administrative costs. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the auditor's observation and wishes to state that the reconciled over expenditure amounting to 231,100 was due to an increase in the operational cost of administering CDF, as well as the use of administration component on extra costs related to the commissioning of earth-moving equipment. Action taken. Management wishes to report that it has put in place measures to enhance efficiency in the utilization administration component by coordinating the departments and units implementing programs in the same locality to do them at the same time. Remedial measure. Management wishes to state that it will continue following the procedures and regulations in the payment of operating costs. The details are on Appendix 22. Then Appendix 3 is 2022 community projects. Management response. Management notes the auditor's observation and wishes to state that 7 projects were outstanding from 2022, comprising mostly of earth-moving equipment. However, at the end of 2023, 2 projects were outstanding as follows. So it was the water bowser and the 2 tipper trucks. Remedial measure. Management wishes to state that it will continue following procedures and regulations in the acquisition of assets or taking into account the implementation period. The details are on Appendix 23. 2023 community projects. So, cause of query. Management acknowledges the auditor's observation and wishes to state that for the cause of query, this was due to the non-submission of interim payment certificates, IPCs, by the contractors at the time of the audit. Action taken. Management wishes to report that the project has been completed. It's 100%. Then on Mwambazi Staff House, Isoko Ward, this was due to the non-submission of interim payment certificates by the contractor at the time of the audit.
Skip the table.
Okay. Then on a remedial measure, Chair, management wishes to state that it will continue following the procedures and the regulations in the procurement of goods and services while taking into account the implementation period. The details are on Appendix 24. On Appendix 5, analysis of performance, youth, women, and community grants. Management response, cause of query. Management acknowledges the auditor's observation and wishes to state that the low approval rate of 37% was due to limited funds allocated for grants to accommodate the 158 applicants. Action taken. Management wishes to report that the allocation of grants has been increased by government, which will accommodate more beneficiaries. Remedial measure. Management wishes to state that it will continue following the CDF guidelines. The details are on Appendix 25. Performance analysis, soft loans. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the auditor's observation and wishes to state that the undisbursed funds amounting to 2.925,604 was due to a delay in loan beneficiaries obtaining clearance from the Credit Reference Bureau conducted through the bank. Action taken. Management wishes to report that it has since disbursed the 2,835,192 of the 2023 CDF soft loans to beneficiaries. Remedial measure. Management wishes to state that it will continue following the procedures and the regulations in the disbursement of soft loans. The details are on Appendix 26. Failure to recover loans. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the auditor's observation and wishes to state that this was due to bank not remitting the recovered funds to the revolving bank account despite engaging them. Action taken. Management wishes to report that through engagement with the bank, the local authority has recovered 846,002.67 from loan beneficiaries. Remedial measure. Management wishes to state that it will continue following up with the bank and loan beneficiaries for compliance in terms of repayments and recoveries. The details are on Appendix 27. Secondary boarding and skills development bursaries. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the auditor's observation and wishes to state that the 49 students who were yet to graduate and 428 pupils still in school at the time of audit. In addition, the unspent fund 8484,153 was due to the few bursary applications received in the period under review. Action taken. management wishes to report that the CDFC had approved a variation of the remainder of funds to procurement of desks. Remedial measure. Management wishes to state that it will continue following procedures and regulations in the payment of bursary and continue sensitizing the community on the opportunities available through CDF. Details are on Appendix 28. Analysis of performance of desks. Cause of query. Management acknowledges the auditor's observation and wishes to state that this was due to the delay in making of desks, leading to termination of contracts for some suppliers. Action taken. Management wishes to report that out of 1,370 undelivered desks, the 1,370 have since been delivered. Remedial measure. Management wishes to state that it will continue to implement CDF programs in line with the CDF guidelines. The details are on Appendix 29. I submit, Chair.
Thank you very much, Council Secretary. We are suspending in business. For lunch, we'll come back at 14 hours. Your immunity temporarily suspended. So we'll meet at 14. Thank you.